The biggest advantage of a polytunnel is the long season of worthwhile and reliable high quality harvest protected from the weather. Making the most of your polytunnel. They have a very long season of cropping. I think many would assume it's now late April and hey, let's put up a tunnel, we can grow amazing tomatoes, which you certainly can do. And the tunnel keeps off the rain so they don't get blight. But you can do a lot all year round as well. So here's some options I'm showing you for sizes and types. Like, be careful, I would recommend not to buy the flimsiest, cheapest type, because although they seem budget, good value, I've heard of many times that they've been erected with quite a bit of time needed and then just blow down. This one has been here 3 years. It comes from First Tunnels, in fact, one of a few companies making really good product. It's built to last, and we've had strong winds. We're pretty exposed here, and it's still here, and it doesn't move in the wind. It's very stable. So you've got size options as well. Like this is, well, for me it's small, but this is probably a medium size, and 10 by 15 feet, about 3 by 4.5 meters, is a good size, I reckon, for most families. If you eat a lot of vegetables, you'll get really good value from one this size. I've also got a bigger one, which is commercial size, 18 by 42 feet, about 5.5 by 13.5 meters. That one cost only twice what this one cost, but it has 4 times the area. To give you an idea that the more you scale up, the more value you get. But I'd recommend generally not to scale down from this one, because everyone I know who got a smaller tunnel than this wishes they got something slightly bigger. Let's have a look at the options for cropping all through the year. What we're looking at here are plants that have been in the ground for 6 months already, and they were sown even a month before that. So they were sown in September, transplanted mid-October after we'd finished the summer cropping. That's a rapid change over time, because we want to get these plants in before it gets too dark and cool so they get established. And actually we managed to take some picks of leaves from them before Christmas, and then quite a lot since. So what we have here is, these are all plants that you could sow around mid-September and transplant mid-October. Is for example all the mustard family, different colours, like red lace, green frills, red dragon. Or just get a pack of mixed mustard seeds. And then there's lettuce. There's a type I particularly like, it's called Grenoble Red, and it's particularly hardy in winter. It's not easy to get the seed, but if you do manage to get a seed and get a plant in a polytunnel, it's very good for keeping seed. Actually, it's another attribute of polytunnels. For instance, in spring you could plant some onions and keep the seeds from them, because you've got that dry, reliable season under cover. It's very good for that. So one lettuce will give you lots of seeds by early autumn for years ahead. I've also got some endive. They're very nice through the winter. They're very hardy plants. So all of these plants will resist frost, but in very cold weather we do put fleece over just to make sure they survive well. And then you've got other like extras, kale, chard. They're both lovely through the winter. Spinach, chervil, winter purslane, salad rocket. Many options, but they will, nearly all of these plants, they're starting to rise up to flower, and that means they won't go on cropping for much longer now. And in fact we do a changeover to summer in the middle of May. Because polytunnel space is so efficient at growing things, I'm always looking at how to reduce the amount of time needed to manage them. And this is one great bonus, which is a door that we make just at the bottom to keep out animals, especially rabbits. But what it means is that I can leave the main doors open all the time. I actually only shut them in extreme wind about twice a year, because doors don't really keep the heat in if you shut them. A polytunnel is just a thin skin of plastic, and that is, just heat flies out of it. So sometimes in the winter it can be colder in here on a still night, or even a slightly breezy night. It's colder in here than outside. So everything in here is frost hardy through the winter. You can't grow tomatoes in a polytunnel in the winter, but you can certainly sow them nice and early, like early March, say, to transplant in here around, well, early May, depending when your last frost is. So your precise date will vary according to that. And it's during early May that we do the soil management of the year, which with no dig is simply putting compost on the surface and about maybe 50% more than out in the main garden because of the high value, high volume of cropping. I'm not using any feeds or fertilizers, I'm just using compost as the source of fertility in here. So I put on about 4 centimetre, inch and a half once a year, but the best compost I've got, and animal manure actually I do really value for this. We use horse manure or cow manure, sometimes homemade compost as well, and in the pathways rather than wood chip I'll put compost, because if you notice how narrow these pathways are, the plants in the beds are rooting into them, so the path soil is a valuable part of your polytunnel cropping. And then the high value plants in the summer, tomatoes in particular, because of not getting blight thanks to the leaves being kept dry by the plastic structure, cucumbers, aubergines, peppers, chilies, so many, basil, whatever you want to grow really that just needs that bit of extra warmth. And extras too, like we have there's some celery, which I do if I've got a space that comes free before the end of winter, and I've got some early plants, so that will give an early crop of celery. You could do something like sweet corn in here, but it takes up a lot of space, and same with courgettes. You know, it is very precious in here, so think about, you know, kilograms per square meter, that kind of argument. And then garlic is one more thing, because you might wonder why there's garlic growing in here. It's because I found under cover where there's no rain on the leaves, it doesn't get rust nearly so much as outside, and we get lovely large crops of garlic here in early June from planting it at the same time as we put in the winter salads in the middle of October. And if you notice, we're not giving it any extra space at all, so it's just kind of a free crop in that sense, and easy to manage. There's two other aspects to this, and one is propagation that you could do in a structure like this. I prefer my greenhouse because I have a greenhouse and it is a bit warmer in a greenhouse. That highlights the extra value of the polytunnel. The value per square metre is very high. I think they're really good value. A greenhouse costs, if you buy it new, 3 times, maybe 4 times per square metre what you would pay for a structure like this. And it has concrete footings as well actually, whereas one like this does not. It's just holding the ground, held in place by anchor plates. It's all in the soil, there's no concrete anywhere here. The plastic of a polytunnel is one slight snag. How long is it going to last? Doesn't last forever, but actually when they're tightly put on like this, it can be as much as 15 years. So if you're on the fence about getting a polytunnel, I would urge you to have a go and make the most of winter as much as summer. You will get a whole year of reliable harvest.